Next, we have the shadow. The shadow represents the dark aspects of the hero's psyche and emotional state, a state which they would prefer to stay hidden. When these negative aspects reveal themselves, the hero invariably sees these aspects as completely separate from him or herself, and they project that onto another person. Of course, another person could just mirror that to them as well. Now, any character archetype may mirror certain unconscious negative aspects back to the hero. However, as they each may reflect a certain shadow aspect to each other. The key for the hero is to find a way to accept and incorporate his or her shadow aspect of themselves in a meaningful and positive way so that it ceases to have the same power over them that it once had. Of course, the shadow cannot be completely vanquished and can come back in many different forms at the least opportune times, often when the hero is most vulnerable. The shadow is quite an elusive and dangerous character, but also offers a paradoxical level of great strength and assistance to the hero. For the shadow character, Twin Peaks is definitely a playground completely filled with many forms and fashions of this specific archetype. The hero's arch enemy is himself, of course. However, it is only after Dale Cooper flees from the dweller on the threshold or his shadow self in the Red Room that Bob is then able to possess him. Before that moment, Bob actually helps Agent Cooper by punishing Wyndham Earl for violating spirit law. Remember, there's that scene where Wyndham Earl, he makes a deal. He tries to make a deal with Cooper, your soul for Annie's, right? And Wyndham Earl plunges this knife into Cooper's gut, and then Bob shows up and kind of reverses time and says, no, you can't, he can't do that, right? So there's this scene where the spirit double of the arm in the Red Room is saying doppelganger with his eyes appearing to be clouded, indicating the duality of the human psyche. Now, doppelganger is an interesting word because it literally means double goer in German. It refers to a spirit double of a physical person. I interpret the doppelganger as it's used in Twin Peaks as the dweller on the threshold, representing this shadow archetype. Each character having their own shadow, or the dweller on the threshold, or doppelganger, they will invariably confront this doppelganger. Everyone confronts this doppelganger when they pass from this life into the Red Room. To confront one's doppelganger in the Red Room is the final test used to determine if one's soul goes to the White Lodge as it has achieved perfection, if successful, enduring the great and final confrontation with every negative aspect of the self, or if one goes to the Black Lodge, which represents the utter annihilation of one's soul for eternity, as Deputy Hawk once explained to Agent Cooper during one of the last seasons, or the last episodes in Season 2. Study now in life and prepare yourself for the great test to be administered after death, as one day you will most certainly be tested. This is essentially what Deputy Hawk is telling Coop in this scene. Deputy Hawk tells Cooper that he may be courageous in this world, but there are other worlds. And if one meets the dweller on the threshold in the next world with imperfect courage, then your soul will be utterly annihilated. Which, of course, is foreshadowing as Agent Cooper flees from his shadow in the final episode of Season 2. There are also doppelgangers which offer a shadow aspect to the hero in a certain way as well. Characters with a certain truth that is hiding in plain sight right under the hero's nose. The shadow is one of the most deeply complex character archetypes of them all. Next, we have the herald. The herald calls the hero to action or ushers the hero into a new world and signals upcoming changes and important turning points in the story. To me, the role of the herald is fulfilled by the man from another place. He is the one who appears as the middleman between Agent Cooper and the other world. He is the one who appears to Cooper early in the first season in the Red Room, giving him information about the task ahead, albeit speaking backwards and using what seem to be meaningless non sequiturs most of the time. In Twin Peaks, the herald isn't going to spell it all out for you or make anything incredibly obvious. Throughout the story of Twin Peaks, there were other heralds scattered about, but I consider these lesser roles when compared to the arm. The reason I think so is because the man from another place he's the one who seems to bring Agent Cooper into the other world of Twin Peaks, and that's where things really start to get rolling. Also, I still have no idea why there would be a fish in the percolator. Now we're on to the Threshold Guardians. Threshold Guardians are aplenty in Twin Peaks, but they are not the same thing as the Dweller on the Threshold. The Threshold Guardian is a gatekeeper or a sort of mini-boss which stands between the hero and his or her access to new levels of understanding and expanded awareness. Threshold Guardians hold secrets which are imparted to the hero after the Threshold Guardian is defeated. Now, they do battle in the sense of typically mortal combat, but it isn't always necessarily this way, as they can offer challenges to the hero in other ways to, in order to protect the treasures that they're guarding against or they're trying to prevent the hero from gaining access to. Now, Threshold Guardians are often adversarial, but they don't have to be. Some of them are neutral, and sometimes they're even good. If and when the Threshold Guardian is defeated by the hero, presuming the hero isn't killed in the process, the Threshold Guardian can sometimes become a valuable ally after the conflict is over. Or I should say, if the Threshold Guardian isn't killed by the hero, then many times they'll end up becoming an ally to that hero.